Hey everybody, welcome to How the Sausage is Made with Chris Cosentino, where I talk with chefs, restaurateurs, athletes, philanthropists, and pretty much anybody that inspires me. We look below the surface, behind the curtain, and dig deep into how these people got to where they are today. Wins, losses, and everything in between. All right, everybody. I am very fortunate today to have Chef Nini Nguyen. Did I do that right?
Yeah, you did.
All right. So Nini is joining us from New Orleans. How's the weather?
It's muggy. It's actually kind of sticky. It's warm. It's like 79 degrees.
Oh my God.
So,
I think a lot of people would be very happy with that right now since people are flooding in NorCal. It is crazy here.
it's actually pretty hot during this time. Like normally it's like 50, 60, so it's like really nice, but it's a little too hot. I'm like, I
No.
want to put on a sweater, but not in this weather.
Oh. Nini, what made you want to cook for a living?
Um, let's see. I've always loved cooking. Like as a kid, helping my grandma, like very cliche. But I think what made me switch over to cooking, like, for a living is graduating in 2009 when the housing market crashed. I have a business marketing degree, and entry-level jobs were paying so little because, like, no one had money. And I was like, "Well, if I'm not gonna get paid, like, a decent job coming out of school, I'm gonna go do what I want." And so I decided, well, I'm gonna try cooking. I loved cooking. I was like, I got the degree for my family. Like, I'm one of the first people to graduate college in, like, my family. So I was like, "Okay, I have, like, 1 semester. Let's do that." And then I was like, "I'm gonna fuck off and just do what I want." Can I curse on here?
You can do whatever you want.
Okay. And so then I started cooking. I had, you know, worked in restaurants, like, as a server during college, and I loved the culture so much, and so I made the switch. I went to culinary school for, like, a semester and realized I learned so much more on the job. They make you get a job when you're in, like, culinary school, at least this one. I was like, "That's your biggest fail."
Where
Because
was
now I
this? Where was this at that you were
in
going to
New
school?
Orleans at
Okay.
Delgado Community College. I was like, "I'll do pastry because, like, I don't know enough about it." And then they made me get a job while I was there. I was like, "Well, why would I pay you guys to teach me when y'all like when we don't do much?" And someone wants to pay me to teach me. And so then I just started working in a bunch of different kitchens. I started in pastry and kind of working for all the people that I liked or like admired in the city. And then one day I woke up and I was like, I want to move to New York. And having never been there.
So who were you working for in New Orleans at that time?
So I went the first restaurant, this lady hated me. I think she thought that I was after her job. I was like, honey, I don't want your job. But I was at Palace Cafe in New Orleans. It's like a huge, like one of the Brennan's restaurants, which is a big family who does like classic New Orleans food. So I was serving tables there, transitioned to the kitchen, and I worked there. I worked at a place called Sucre. It's a confection. They have like I've done chocolates there. They make their own gelato. They make entremets. Macaroons are what they're most known for, but it's like that was the crash course of like my dessert world. It's high volume, like we're like packaging a lot of this stuff, but I'm just cranking out like so many different desserts, and I was the floater, so like every day of the week, it was so nice. Every day of the week I worked at a different station, and I just like optimized every station because I'm like a crazy Asian woman. Like I know that's like stereotyping, but like if you want efficiency, just stick a bunch of Asian women in a place and then they're gonna be like, actually this will be better. And so I did that for Sucre while I learned so much about like just like making toffee, making things like ganache, curing things, and that was a lot of fun. And then I worked for Coquette, which is a really fun that was like I really don't think that this place people I talk about it all the time, and a lot of my chef friends that I have now are from my time when I worked there. And people were like, this place does not exist. This was like the coolest place to work at the time. I was like 23, 24. Um, we would it was like really farm to table. The farmers will come with on their trucks, and the cooks, like, we could just go up there and be like, oh my god, this looks good. We're just pulling things. Like, the chef owner was like, whatever, like, get whatever you want. And then we would experiment, and he would just he's like, you want cookbooks, get cookbooks. You want this like weird chemical, order it, whatever. We have Amazon Prime. And then we would just order, and we would test, and we'd make really weird stuff. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it wasn't. And Mason, who owns Turkey and the Wolf, he was the main chef at the time. So we would make the weirdest things, and it was just so much fun. And it's fun because like we've all kind of grown up and like done our own things, like have our own restaurants or like do, I don't know, whatever job I have. And yeah, that was so much fun. We were bad. We were really bad. We were probably the like same culture that we would get canceled now.
I mean, that's interesting though, that you had the freedom to play, because not a lot of people give that freedom
No,
in
no.
restaurants.
I thought that was the best part, was like we were all young and like eager. And I think that one thing I love about Mike, who is the chef owner there, is that like he kind of he's like, well, let's do it. And like he would always have to like say the menu changed every day. Like we would have like different, like the same proteins, but whatever came in is what we would have. So no one would have the same meal if they came. I mean, they could, sometimes it'll overlap, but like for the most part, you wouldn't have the same meal coming in. It just depended on like what we could get on the truck.
I
But
love that. I actually love that. I think that's as Parisian, as like classic as it should be, like as it is, right? Like
yeah,
the truck shows up, you get what you get, and the menu evolves from it. I mean, that's as fresh as it is.
yeah. Now the main farm, it got too big, so then they don't like you order now. But yeah, and then we'd have like the smelly mushroom guy who would come and like, forage all the mushrooms, and we'd buy it. And like the microgreens, like there was so many like hippie-ish dudes, always dudes, coming in and selling us like random things. But I worked there. I worked pastry. There was a pastry chef who just came from New York. So then I learned so much about like plating and canelling ice cream and Paco Jets and all that stuff. And come here. This dog is he's a terrorizer. I'm sorry. I'm gonna show you guys. Now he thinks he's getting something. He was standing in the middle of the hall, like staring at me, like giving me the death stare. And that was like where I worked in New Orleans. I like to think that I would have not become a chef had it not been for Hurricane Katrina. Like, it's weird, like, Hurricane Katrina was so devastating. My family lost our house. I ended up never coming back to the house that I lived in, even though my grandma lives 2 doors away. I look at that house all the time, and I'm like, "Man, that's kinda crazy that, like, we left and then never, like, looked back." My dad came and tried to, like, salvage anything that he could. If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't have gotten a hostess job, which then made me like love this industry so much. I think it's weird, but good things can kind of come out of bad circumstances. And so I worked at Coquette, and then like actors moved to to LA. I feel like chefs moved to New York at some point, and I made the move. My first job it was kind of crazy. I just remember people being like, "You have to work at some shitty jobs before you ever think about working at a Michelin star restaurant." And then my ass is like, "Well, I mean, let's ask, let's try." And so then I go, and they must have had like a shortage of pastry chefs because I staged at Danielle, I staged at Le Bernardin, and I staged at E&P. I also staged at like Gramercy Tavern, and then some other places, but those were like the three Michelin star restaurants, and they all wanted to hire me, and I was like, holy crap! Now I'm like, now I get to choose. I remember a pastry chef's like, you're gonna have a harder time getting an apartment than you're gonna have a time getting a job, and I was like, this is nice. New York, that's easy. Then I was a poor line cook for a long time. I was like, this living the dream, you know? What did I do? I worked, like, I would wake up probably at 11 to be at work at 1 p.m. to then work until about 2 or 3. And that was like my regular day. Like
And where
that.
did you end up taking the job?
Oh, I'm like, I ended up working at EMP, 11 Madison Park. Danielle was, I hope they don't hear this, but Danielle was like, they were so French, and they like knew that I knew how to do sugar work, chocolate work, and all this stuff. But I don't know, I didn't like bend the knee. Tofu, shut up. My dog's name is Tofu. Tofu is okay. They were so like hoity-toity, like, and it was really weird. It was a really weird vibe. So I was like, and then this like poor girl who I ended up working with, her name was Yoko Ono. Funny. Isn't that the
Yeah,
Beatles?
it is. Yeah, it's the same
I was like,
name.
oh wow, yeah. She looked so sad. She was like in the basement making the like chocolate, the chocolate dessert that's like, it's like a crust, and then there's a caramel in the middle, and then there's the cake. It's like
Yeah, their
it's like
signature.
their signature. Yeah, she was like in the dungeon making that, and I'm like, you look so sad. Like, I don't want that. And then the Bernardin was like the old pastry chef, Mike. I forgot his last name, but he had just left.
Michael Lasconis.
Lasconis, yes. He had just left, and then they had a new pastry chef, and they were just like kind of douchey. Like the staff was douchey. The old like pastry chefs that worked there were getting like weeded out, and I'm like, nah. I was like, y'all can get another job somewhere else. I'm like going there like terrorizing their staff. And then I go to EMP, and like it was cool. Everyone was quiet, those types of kitchens, and like, and it was a little culty, like, when an order comes in, everyone says we, but everyone was young and it looked fun. And I chose them because they were the youngest one. And it was a terrifying job. Like the first 6 months, I'm like, every day coming, I'm like, today's the day I'm gonna get fired. I just like, that was my mentality. I'm like, I've seen people be like, get the fuck out of my kitchen. I was like, they're gonna fucking freak out. I'm gonna do something bad, and then they're gonna fire me. And then like, so that's like the first 6 months. If you can get past that trauma, it's all right. Like if you know how to do stuff, like they're like, all right, we'll back off. Like they'll trust you. And then by the end of it, I was making chocolate in a little closet. And sometimes, I'm not even gonna lie, I hope they don't hear this, but like I'd be so hungover because I broke up with my boyfriend at the time, and I was partying a lot, and I would just take naps in the chocolate room. So people were like,
My God, Nini.
but then the chocolate room was like really close to the grease trap. I remember one time, like I had a chocolate partner, and I was so hungover, and they were cleaning the grease trap. I just like puke. I just puke. There was just puking in the like garbage. You're like, fucking get it together.
Oh my God,
So
Nini.
yeah,
That's so
it was a
gross.
whirlwind of an experience. It was really fun. It taught me how to take like accountability. Like I thought that was really admirable working with chefs. Like I'd fuck up, and then they would take the blame, and I'm like, I can't have you do that. That makes me feel so bad. And like, yeah, I loved working there. But it was probably because like I was sleeping in a chocolate room. And then I get
Like,
to like do like, fun stuff. I did a lot of the R&D for the pastry department.
wow.
Yeah, so that was really fun, and then sometimes it would cross over with the savory. It'd be like, "I wanna make this da 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 da," and I was like, "Alright, let me just, like, change the fats and da 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 da," and it was just, I love experimenting. I don't like doing the same things over and over, even though I will to, like, perfect it,
Yeah, of course.
but, um but it's always fun having, like, different challenges. But yeah, I'm, like, giving you my storyline. This is so a trip to memory lane.
That's the whole point.
Yeah. So I was there for like 2 years. And I just remember when I went, I had a talk with the chef and I was like talking and like giving my notice as they're trying to give me a promotion. And I was like, oh no. They're like, you're so excited about your thing. We're not even going to talk about what we wanted to talk about. And I'm like, okay. But it was weird. Like being at that point, it's like, do I want to be a sous chef at a 3 Michelin star restaurant or do I want to go? I ended up picking traveling. So I worked for a company called Dinner Lab and it was a startup that started in New Orleans and some of my friends were doing it here and then they were doing pop-ups like in New York in like really weird spaces and they were hiring and I was like, I want to do that because they're opening in like 33 different cities. And I'm like, I want to travel. Like, this is a great way to do it. And this is really, I think, where I switched from pastry to savory, as well as like found my identity as a chef, but then also had a crash course of learning so many people's cuisines. So the company would have a dinner at least once or twice a week with a new chef. Like it's usually like a sous chef at any of these restaurants. So like we were picking sous chefs from like 11 Madison Park and like all of these nice restaurants. And we're like, hey, you have a different point of view. Why don't you make us a 5 course meal? And we'll make it for 120 people and we'll do it in a weird space, but we have a staff and we'll help you with it. And so, like, all of these chefs are like, yeah, I want to do a dinner. I want to do a dinner. And so then I got to work with all of the like sous chefs in the city and I networked with everyone. But also, like, if you give a cook a chance to do a 5 course meal, they're going to give you the best things they know and they've learned so far. Whether it's like a recipe from the restaurant that they work at or like something they've worked on themselves. But I learned how to hack like there were so many different hacks. I was like, "What? You could do this way?" And like so many ways to skin a cat. And every week there was one or two chefs that were teaching me like 5 things that they made or like ingredients from their culture, what they grew up eating or like what they specialize in. And so I was just a sponge. I just like absorbed everything. I'd go to all these like different grocery stores, which probably adds to my shopping addiction. I was like, yeah, company card, grocery stores, specialty grocery stores. Yes. So I did that for a long time. Or actually I did it for a year, even though it was so demanding. I started in the New York market, so then I, like, made tons of friends, and this is probably why, like, I feel like it's crazy. I, like, meet people and I'm like, "Oh my god, I worked with you, like, at a dinner a long time like, 15 years ago."
That's amazing. But see, that I think is really important because you networked naturally through working and we all say this, right? It's a very small industry we're in,
It really
right?
is.
It comes back. People come back. They pop up in your life as whether they're running their own restaurant, whether they're working for Rationale or a
Yeah.
brand, they are in the industry forever and they will definitely pop back up in your life. So how
Yeah,
you behave and how you treat people definitely comes back to you.
totally. Like,
Good or bad.
good
Good
or
or
bad.
bad.
Yes. I mean, I think that I was always pretty nice. Some people might have been sassy with, but for the most part, I was always very helpful and nice. And so then I started traveling. There were times where I'm like in 2, 3 cities a week trying to make an event happen from scratch. So that's why I only lasted a year. But
That's
I'm
a
still
lot. That's a ton of that's like a mini restaurant opening every week, twice a week.
every week. It's crazy. We would have like U-Hauls. We'd have, like, propane. I would never wanna cook with propane tanks. Like, I'm like, ugh, lugging all that thing, all of everything. We would load in, load out. Though I'm still friends with all of those guys who, like, created it. It was like they just took the money for a startup and, like, it was not a sustainable business. They were buying, like everywhere I went, I had an Airbnb, a rental car, we had a commercial kitchen, like, there was no way. Like, how are y'all making money off of this? This is bad. But, but I enjoyed it.
I mean, that sounds like a great I mean, it's a crash course and that's like having 2 stages a week for a year
Yes.
with different chefs all over. I mean, you can't
All
beat that.
over.
And while getting paid and learning different things.
And, like, getting to travel. Like, I was such a broke cook for so long, and I was like, "I get to travel, and, like, I get a per diem? Like, what is that?" And so, I got to spend a lot of time in San Francisco, and I loved San Francisco. I thought I was gonna live there for that I thought that was gonna be my next move. And then so I traveled everywhere, and it really taught me how to travel alone because I was traveling for work and then like going to the cool restaurants and then talking to those people and then being like, "Hey, would you guys want to do a pop up?" So then it was like it was so much fun and it taught me a lot because like I came from New Orleans, like New Orleans East, like the suburbs of New Orleans. I never thought that I would like leave. So then leaving and moving to New York was already big, and then, like, being able to travel was so I'm so grateful for, and then, like, doing these pop-up events, it really, I think, trained me for Top Chef, because you only have a limited pantry, like, you get what you bought,
Yeah.
and you have, like, propane stuff, like, rentals, like, equipment, and then you have to make the event work, and so there were a lot of times where like, "Holy shit, we forgot this," or like, "Oh my god, this went down." Like, how do we still make the dinner happen? And a lot of people who've worked for this or like worked with this company ended up on Top Chef. Kwame Onwuachi being one of them. He was like the youngest person who like did their tour to all their markets and did a dinner. I'm trying to think who else, but I just remember Top Chef being like, "Yeah, we love the people who worked for them because like they get it. They like I think with Top Chef, like, if you have catering experience, you could do this because a lot of times it's, like, a catering job."
I mean, ultimately, if you think about it, Top Chef is basically everyday life in a restaurant. It's just something goes wrong. How you manage the measure of your success is how you deal with problems, not how you create them.
Yeah.
And that's what Top Chef does. Top Chef creates the problem and you're there to solve it.
Yeah. It really
And you
is,
have to make good food no matter what.
no matter what.
It's just like the restaurant. Your doors are open, the grease trap explodes, the dishwasher didn't show up, your gas got turned off, or your hood just broke. Something happens in your business. How do you continue to put great food on the plate and not have your guests know that shit has gone pear-shaped?
Exactly. Which reminds me, like, when you said when the gas goes out, it triggered me because that's what happened on 24/24. The gas goes out, we're all like, "Hey, the gas isn't working."
Yeah, that's Michael Simon there turning the
Michael was like,
switch.
"Oh, it isn't?" And I was like, "You were fucking sick, but you should go. You should do it was the most fun. It was crazy, but it was, to me, still the most fun show I've participated in. But it's 'cause
Interesting.
we're fucking sick. They're fucking I was like, "No!"
I haven't even seen it. I I haven't seen it.
You
I
should
don't
watch
know.
it. It's kinda funny. Like, funny and fun, and it's 24 hours, so it's like it takes a toll. You would think that it was like the young spring chickens are gonna outlast. It's like, no, skill still matters, so it's good. So yeah, I worked for Dinner Lab for a while, and then you can't do it for so long, you get burnt out. So I got burnt out on it, and I was like, I'll come and guest chef every now and again, but I'm not trying to live on the road and out of a suitcase, even though I still do that now. Um,
Yeah, but you're controlling your live out of a suitcase. They're not controlling it.
yeah. I'm like, yes, like I got to spend my favorite was like being in Miami. I'm like, I get to tan, I get to do all this, but so I left there and then I did like some shitty jobs. I worked for a catering company, a private chef for a while. And then
What was
one of
that
the
like? What was that like private chefing for somebody? Because I think there is definitely this allure for a lot of folks to private chef. And I like to, my personal opinion is very different, I'm sure. But I feel that doing a private chef gig becomes very restraining because you are to their whims. which is
Yeah.
fine because that's why they hire you. But what was that like going from cooking in a restaurant and doing food lab where you have guests that are open-minded, willing to try things, and then you're going to being
Soul
someone's private
sucking.
chef?
Soul sucking. I started like private chefing for 2 different families, and it was like diet food. Like the women just wanted to like lose weight, so that I would make like these like clean dishes from this book. I didn't even cook my own food. So it's like anybody could have done that job. Any cook could have done.
Brown rice, steamed chicken, lots of lemon juice and ginger, right?
Yeah, like it wasn't fun, but I was like, I need to make money and I need to make like consistent money. I think that's what people do. It's like when you're like bored and you're like, I don't want to grind in the like restaurant world, but I want to like make a bunch of money for like a short amount of time. You private chef. Like to do it for so long, it's such a isolating job. Like most of the time you're working by yourself and then you're at the whim of the family or like and like not only for their schedule but also their taste buds. And I variety is the spice of life and I want to cook different things. And so I don't think I could do it. Thank God I don't have to do it now. But the families I work for, they were really nice. Uh, and so I did that for a while. And then the woman who had the catering company that I worked for wanted to have like a cooking school, like a cooking studio. And so then I joined forces with her. It was called Cook Space in Brooklyn, and we formed like a recreational cooking school where we tried to teach people like without a recipe, like teaching with intuition and trying to be like, this is how you season. These are like, what you do and like how like line cooks cook. And this is why restaurant food tastes good. And so, and teaching people basic skills like knife skills, just making like mother sauces. So it was like teaching them culinary school, but like once a week at night. And it
That's
was really
great.
cute. It was cute. I loved it. I loved it because then I got to like develop all the recipes for the classes and I got to test things and I got to go get back into the kitchen. So I'd like fry chicken like 3 different ways and then being like, which one's the best one? And that's the one I'll teach. Or like doing dim sum. Like I got to just like have take all the things I learned from like dinner lab to and then apply it to teach like normal people. And so then I did that for a while and then I got on Top Chef.
So how did that happen? How did they find you? Or
Top
did you apply for them?
Top Chef actually filmed in New Orleans during the time Dinner Lab was coming up. So Dinner Lab helped co-produce some of the events that Top Chef did. So then the execs asked like the CEO of the company like, "Hey, you have a bunch of different chefs, like who do you think should like do Top Chef?" So then they gave them a list of chefs. My name was on there. And then I'd gotten in contact with them. And every year it was like different. Like the first year I applied through like the people, they were like, "Oh, you're too similar to our last winner who was Maylin, who's now my best friend." I was like, "We are not the same just because we're Asian women." But they're like, "You're too similar to our last winner, so no." And then like some years are like, "Do you want to do it?" And I'm like, "No." And so like it was a dance. And then it was like 4 years after that I was like, "You know what?" They're like, "We know you don't want to do it, but do you know anybody who does?" And I'm like, "I kind of want to do it now." And so then I applied and then I was like, "This is the last time I'm applying. If I don't get on, I'm not doing this again." And they're probably like, "This lady's crazy. Like, let's put her on." You know? I don't know why. Like before I would be like saying what I think they wanted me to say. And then I came and I'm like, "You know what? This is me. If you want it, great. If not, I'm never applying again." And then they're like, "Yes."
My God.
So I got casted. I didn't go far.
Where was what location was this? What city did they have you guys in that year?
Kentucky.
Ah, okay.
So like Kentucky had paid Top Chef like a lot, like millions of dollars in either tax credit or like paid them to film in Kentucky. And I got on, and when I was on fire. I was like winning back to back. I was always on the top. And then when I fucked up, I made it count. I was front of house for Wars, and they did Restaurant Wars early. And then that's my first time, like, I don't know how much you knew before going into something like Top Chef, like how much TV it is, you know? Like I'm like, "Oh, it's a competition show. I'm going to come and and like I have no idea what the TV world's like, and they're fucking with you. Like I had the dining room. They didn't have like the first team, of course they're going to win. Their dining room was finished when we came in, and like to prep, theirs was finished. I didn't have walls. Like I didn't have art on the walls. I didn't have chairs and tables. So my servers had to build tables. They walked out. They're like, "Fuck this." And so then I had PAs serving tables who never served tables before. And then I was front of house. I touched every single table. So I know I served tables for a long time. So I can recognize your face, and I know your order. And then and there was a wait because we were backed up. The kitchen was backed up, which is classic Restaurant Wars.
Yeah.
But then they had the same guests that I already served go back and stand in line. And thinking that I wouldn't recognize them. And I was like, "Oh, did you guys forget something? Like, y'all are back." They're like, and then they looked because they were 6 top. They're like, "Oh, we were told to come and get a 4 top and 2 top." And I said, "Oh, did you love the meals so much you wanted to come back? I'd love to serve you, but you're going to have to wait for a little while."
Oh my
The
God.
cameras are on me. And I'm like, I had to think so fast. And I was like, "Oh, like you loved it so much you're back? Of course." And then I went to the back and I lost my shit.
And did they catch you on camera losing your shit?
No, because it was so late, but I was mic'd. And I said, "Fuck this show." I was like, "They're just trying to make us look fucking idiots. These are our careers." Like, I went off, and then I remember the cast being like, "At least get D-Mike." I was like, "Fuck that. I want them to hear." I was I was so fired up. They're like, "This bitch is gonna get eliminated." I'm like, "I don't give a shit." Like, it's about, like, integrity. Like, what the hell is this? And then I got eliminated.
Did they call out what you had said? Did they say anything
No.
about? As a chef, I'm always asked the same question. What's your secret to making a restaurant quality dish at home? It's not just the ingredients, it's how you bring them to life, and it starts with the right tools. Heston's ProBond professional clad cookware collection will give you control, consistency, and confidence. It's cookware that makes you want to cook more. Check it out at hestonculinary.com and use my promo code COOKWITHCHRIS for 10% off your first order.
No. But it took a long time. Like, Padma did not want to eliminate me. Because she felt like it was the kitchen's fault that they were backed up because it was. Like, it was just all a mess. I'm just gonna say it was all a mess, but the chefs did not help. And, like, they all threw me under the bus, even though Justin was the exec chef, had a moment to walk around the dining room to tell everyone that he was the exec chef. I was like, "I thought you were fucking backed up in the kitchen. Maybe you should be shucking oysters instead of fucking schmoozing the dining room, being like, 'I'm the executive chef.' And maybe don't rip cigarettes during service while you have fucking orders coming out." It was a mess. Anyways.
What? Who was this?
Justin Sutherland. He's been canceled. It's okay.
I've got no comment.
But like it was that was traumatizing. I still sometimes get dreams of like Padma and like the judges and a bunch of people in a dining room, and they're all staring at me and they're waiting for something, and I'm like, I don't know your order. I gotta go to the kitchen." Like that is a nightmare that I get every now and again, fever dreams maybe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What an experience. Like, but how did that affect you when you got back to every day? Like when the show started rolling out, like what was that like for you?
I don't know. I mean, I knew I did well, and like it was an emotional roller coaster. I came back and I'm like, I don't know how to cook anymore. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And I watched it, and it was so like well received, and like people were cheering me on, and I'm like, this is really nice. And then I got eliminated, and like people were devastated. Some people were like, "She's so stupid," and I would troll them back, and I'm like, "You're absolutely right." Like, they're like, "Nini doesn't know shit," and I'm like, "Yup," like, on Twitter, and people were like, "I'm so sorry." I'm like, "That's alright, it's fine, we fuck up sometimes," and then winning people over who were talking shit about me on the internet was amazing, and then I was like, "I'm never gonna cook again, I never wanna do this again." This tofu, right, he's settling down.
There you go. It looks like you're wearing a shawl.
Do you think he could see?
No, I don't think he can see. I think you need to trim his hair. Needs a haircut.
You need a haircut. And then I was like, "I'm never doing this again," and then they asked me to do All Stars right after the first.
And did you do it?
And then I was like, "Well, I guess I'm not doing it. I don't really have a job right now, so sure, I'll do it." And I was like, "This is just the bonus round." I'm like, the likelihood, like, these people have been competing for so long. Like, why the fuck is Brian Voltaggio on here? Like, they've been competing for so long. I'm not expecting to win. I'm just gonna, like, come have fun, and, like, this is my bonus round. I get to, like, do something, and it was fun, and it was a very different vibe. Like, the first year, I was, like, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, be like, "What's happening?" And everything felt like it mattered so much during that, like, filming, whereas the second one, All Stars, like, everyone's, like, second, third time doing this, they're like, it's a job, and so everyone's, like, they're treating it like a job. They're not partying all night, and we're not as fully sequestered. Like, we still can get our phones to do our business. And so it was just a different vibe. But then getting to observe all of these competition chefs who are so well seasoned. Like, my first season, no one's done this before. So, like, we're all just like new. Going against like Gregory Gourdet, Brian Voltaggio, Kevin Gillespie, like all of these like people who have done it for so long, I learned so many tricks. And like, so just sitting there and watching them cook, I was like, all right, I like that. I'm going to write that down. And so I feel like that's when I had like a crash course on how to like cook competitively versus just like cooking normal. I think it's like very different.
For sure. It is a very different thing.
Yeah. Deep frying your meat instead of searing it before you put it in the fucking pressure cooker.
Yeah.
Like braising. I was like, oh, that was fast. Like, Brian Voltaggio put, like, all these short ribs into, like, a oven to braise in, like, 10 minutes for 200 people. I'm like, "That's crazy." I wouldn't do it in a normal restaurant.
But
But
it's competition TV, and it's really a very different experience. And I don't think the public realizes how different it really is,
yeah,
right? There's tricks and hacks to get to the next level.
yeah. And so I feel like Top Chef All Stars was my crash course on that, and I had a lot of fun. It was cool. And then yeah, and it was right before the pandemic, and I just, like, loved my favorite part about the production is because it was in LA and everybody was there, they had extra money, so then we'd, like, order sugarfish. I was like, "What do we wanna eat today?" And we'd order from, like, all these, like, restaurants, and then we got to cook in a lot of these restaurants, and then and then the pandemic happened, and I felt like that season was such a love letter to restaurants, and it made everyone miss restaurants when we couldn't go, and that was really, like, I love that, and it was really sad watching it. I'm just like, "And I hope that they last through the COVID." Tofu. Sounds like someone might be back in our backyard.
Tofu's gonna rip their legs off.
I Yeah, right. Tofu? Tofu, like, barks, but then when he's scared even when I was with my ex, like, when he's scared, he hides behind me. He's
That's
like,
so funny.
"Mom's gonna protect me. Dad's not gonna protect me.
Of
Mom will."
course. That's how they are.
He's probably right. I mean, I would hide behind me.
So you've done Top Chef, you did Top Chef All Stars, pandemic happened, the world shuts down. What happens from there? I mean, because you've like, is this your TV train now? Is this how you started on the TV train?
Yeah. So the pandemic happened, and now everyone has to learn how to cook at home, right?
Yeah.
And so and everyone's at home watching TV. So, of course, like Top Chef has amazing views at this point. And I've already learned how to teach people how to cook in person. So then I started doing online cooking classes. This was like, I wish that we could still be in this era. Like, that was when I had the most fun. So I started doing Zoom classes. I'd cap it at like 25, 30 people, and I would walk them through a recipe. I'd only give them ingredients. I would not give them steps because then people don't listen. And then I would make the recipe with them, and if they had any trouble, I could look at their screen and like be like, "Oh, you need to do this, that, that," and help them problem solve in their own kitchens. And people were producing amazing looking dishes in their home. So then people got really excited. They would post about it. Their friends would follow. Their friends like, "You never cook, and you made like, cream puffs with the crackling on top." They're like, "What the hell?" So then it started spreading, and a lot of people started taking my classes, and I think that's when I started developing my following, and I really loved it. I did it for about 2 years, and then I got a book deal from it. Only and, like, people will always I feel like people probably approach you too, like, "You did Top Chef, let's do a book," and I never said yes to one because I was like, "What the hell am I gonna write about?" But then I taught a lot of Vietnamese cooking classes, and so many Vietnamese people came, and I'm like, "What are y'all doing here?" Like, "This is for the non-Vietnamese people," and they're like, "Well, you know, I don't speak the same language as my parents. Like I don't speak Vietnamese, so I can't really understand them." Or I no longer have my parents, or my parents won't teach me and I really want to connect with our heritage. And so there was like a whole like rush of Vietnamese people coming to my classes, and then they gave me the idea like I speak Vietnamese. I still have all of my family like in my community, and I'm a chef, and I like this is the food that I'm probably most passionate about. Maybe I write a book to preserve like our recipes, our heritage, and like the way we eat. And at least here in America, because like it's slightly different, but it's like kind of same. And so then I did the cooking classes, worked on my book. My book came out last year. And since then I've done like the Food Network circa of cooking competitions. And I think I did that. It was kind of strategic. Like you can only do so much with Top Chef and Bravo. And everyone was like, "You should do TOC." And I hadn't done anything in Food Network yet. And I was like, I don't want to do like the silly, like not silly, and not that I'm above it. Like I just didn't want to do Chopped or like Beat Bobby Flay. I wanted the stuff that would win me money, essentially, And so then I did TOC. I qualified in, and I think I did that so that it was like building up towards like not opening, but the release of my cookbook because I was like, I need to get more visibility for
Public facing, yeah.
yeah. And what better way than like going to a new network? And so then that's when I started with the Food Network stuff, but I took a break like after All Stars, like people tried to cast me to do other things, and I was just like I'm done with the competition stuff for a while. Like it really fucked with my head. Though I think that like on a personal level, like after All Stars and like working with all of these people, I was cooking some of the best food in my life just at home where I liked. um, and so I took a break, got on Food Network, released the book, and I'm still in the circa, but I think it's time for another break so that I can figure out what I want to do next. I think I want to open a restaurant. I know it's crazy and people tell me not to do it, but I want to open a restaurant here in New Orleans. There's like, I talk about all the fishermen here that are Vietnamese and like shrimpers, fishermen, and I'm so lucky to have like all the elders in this like suburb outside of New Orleans that I'm from. They started a co-op. Tofu! Is that gonna be
It's
bad?
fine. We'll figure it out. Don't worry about it. We have editing. Don't worry.
Hey, shut up. Tofu, you want a treat? Come here. He's protecting us, because we're
The mailman's at the door
Tofu,
probably.
come here.
You're getting a package.
I know, I probably am. This dog.
Yes, you say that, Nini, but then the dog curls up with you on the bed, so don't pretend.
I love him. I'm obsessed with him. I'm
You talk
obsessed.
shit, but the dog, you're like a super dog person. So
He's
don't,
my baby boy. He's perfect. He's just a terror.
they all are.
But I wouldn't have it any other way. Wait. Okay. And then where was I?
So you were talking about all the elders in the outer area where you live in
Yeah.
New Orleans.
So it's really cool. Like some of the people that like I went to elementary school with develop a co-op that grants it like X amount of land, and it allows like the elders in our community to kind of work. Like every Vietnamese person is a gardener, except me. And they they grow whatever vegetables they want on the property, and then the co-op will take it and they sell it at the farmers market. And the farmers market now, like, it's more Western, the farmers market. So, like, they don't sell as much of the Vietnamese ingredients, but I usually try to do demos. I mean, like, this is how you cook winter melon and all that. But the Vietnamese farmers now grow a lot of like Western produce, and I kind of want to change that back to like growing Vietnamese stuff. And so in the most ideal world, I want to open a restaurant maybe in the next year and buy a lot of the produce from the Vietnamese farmers, getting a lot of the seafood from the Vietnamese fishermen, and really having like a hyper Vietnamese restaurant, like produced by Vietnamese people.
That'd be awesome.
And, that doesn't mean that I'm not going to buy from other people that aren't
Of
Vietnamese,
course.
but I really want it to be like a channel for all of the things that we do have our hand in to have a place to shine. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I'm trying to wrap my mind around. I gave myself like the rest of the year. I've been like kind of just on the road and everywhere. I was like, I'm gonna fuck around for like the rest of the year. I have like what, like 10 days.
10 days
Um,
left.
and then next year I really want to focus on this, and I'm just trying to think about like what kind of setting. I don't want anything to be super fancy. I want it to be just like really beautiful, delicious food and more of a not I don't know. I'm like, do I want to go fancy? Do I want to go casual? But do I not want to be too casual? So, I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to test some stuff.
There you go. No,
Yeah.
it's interesting that, because I think there are so many unique ingredients that are specific to Vietnamese cuisine that are a little more difficult to acquire here, right? And I
Yeah.
think you have the climate in New Orleans to grow those ingredients because it's very similar to the temperature and the climate and the humidity in Vietnam. And I think that was one of the things when we went to Vietnam, walking the farmers markets, the herbs are very important,
Yes.
right?
So
Let's
important.
just so important. And I remember walking through the markets and I love it. I love walking through markets everywhere. But the thing that kept getting me was this display. And there was this elderly Vietnamese woman with this display of all these herbs tied up with other, like, it was almost like a grass that she was tying them with.
Mhm.
And I would try to understand what they were because they weren't things that I'd recognized. And I would point and she would say bitter herb. And I was like, okay, that's not the name of it, but that's bitter. Okay. And I'd point at this one and she'd say pungent herb. And I was like, okay. And then she's spicy herb. And I was like, the other one, she's like bitter herb. And I was like, but that one's bitter herb.
Yeah, I know. I
It's
know.
so confusing. I never could, and all I wanted was to get the actual name, like
Yeah.
basil, cilantro. Like I knew what Rao Ram was,
Yeah.
I knew what roux was. I knew some of them,
Yeah.
but I knew perilla. I knew all these different, but there were so many I'd never seen
So
before.
many.
So many. They're beautiful and different, and some of them are heady and super pungent, and some of them leave this lasting like fresh fenugreek flavor on your palate. Some
Mhm.
of them, right? Like you don't get I very rarely find those.
No. I My mom's boyfriend is really good at gardening, and like I've smuggled seeds back. And like we try to get plants, and so he's cultivating a lot of different things for me right now. He's gonna be my number one farmer. Like I really wanted to have like a farm restaurant, like a farm next door. Roger can like plant everything, but I'm not. I don't want to do that.
Sawtooth herb was another one that I saw.
Yes, I mean, we call that. It's the same family as culantro.
Culantro. Yeah, I have culantro here. I do have culantro
Yeah,
seeds in my house.
yeah. Um, there's so many, and I learned there's like one particular restaurant that if you ever go back, I'll send you to because they have a display of like all the herbs that they serve and the like scientific name for it. They might not have the
Well,
English
that's great.
name, but yes, there's that. Oh, you DM'd me the mukmat leaf. It's like my friend described it as like before citrus happened. Like this is a plant that like they think that citrus has like derived from.
Really?
Yes, and so the leaves go really well with meat, and that's, like, in the North, like, the like, mung. Hey, tofu, it's okay. Come here, it's okay. Come over here. You're alright.
Okay, so what's the name of this leaf again?
Muck mat? I'm gonna look it up,
That's
'cause
because it was such an interesting thing. Because like, we have citrus trees, right? Everybody knows, and you put lime everybody knows lime leaf, but like, you can use citrus leaves, lemon leaves, orange leaves, when you're cooking in broths and all sorts of things. I use them when I cook whole fish in, like I have a turbotier, and I would put tons of lemon leaves in there because it gives this
Yeah.
beautiful aromatic notes to it, but there's so many flavors out there that we don't have access to.
Yes. It's, I sent you a link, I texted to you, but
Thank you.
it's you had walked so this last Vietnam trip that I did, I kind of retraced my grandma's footsteps, like, from her first husband to her second husband, the village that she the village her first husband grew up in, and I was there in Haiphong, so it was, like, near Halong Bay, where it's, like, a big fishing village, and I had this leaf, like, fried with pork, and it was so good, and I was like, "This is such a good aroma," and I asked her, and then it turns out that, like, the duck roasting guy that I was, like, looking at, he had I thought he stuffed lime leaves in there, but lime doesn't grow as, prominently in the north because it's, like, not as it's colder up there, and so limes are not as, popular, so I was like, "Those aren't lime leaves, those are this l mukmut leaf," which is, like, similar and like more ethnic groups usually use this kind of leaf. So it was like it's really cool and I've like learned so much about like northern Vietnamese cuisine, which is kind of my mom's mom is from the north. And so a lot of the food that I grew up eating was more northern or the northern style. And then there's so many ingredients that like I never knew or never had because we can't really get them here because like most Vietnamese people here are from the South. So like they're gonna miss the things that are from the South. And so when I went to the North this time, my grandma asked me for some spices. So like maken, which is like kind of like it's like a peppercorn. It's kind of like as similar to the Szechuan peppercorn.
The wild pepper, the wild pepper.
Yeah, and it has, like, 3 instead of, like, 1 thing, it's, like, 3. It's really cool, but then you always have it with this, like, other spice that's, like, really strong, and it kind of, like, has, like, warm spice and, like, star anise flavor, but you would only use, like, 1 pod of this with, like, a handful of maken and, like, you crush it together, and it's, like, what people marinated meats with, but my grandma asked for it, and I was like, "I've never had this before." She's never cooked it. But it's because, like, that's, like, what she remembers from her childhood, and she wanted it, and it's, like, really cool to kind of, like, discover things for myself for the first time, but almost, like, reminding my grandma of, like, things that she had when she was a kid.
That's so cool.
It had so much fun, and I learned so much, and I tried so many different dishes that I never had before, and so I kinda, like, wanna bring those things back.
That's awesome. And I think that I mean, it'd be so well received because people really want to understand these flavors, and the world is traveling more, and people go to these and they come home and they're like, "Why can't I find that?"
Yeah.
Right? And it's as we become of a more global community of diners, we
Yeah.
want to experience those flavors at home.
Yeah. Hell yeah. I wanna eat everything. I wanna have access to, like, all the most delicious things,
Who doesn't?
right? Weird people.
Weird people. Yeah, why wouldn't you want that, right? Like,
Yeah.
to me, that's like the best part. Isn't that why we all choose what we do to make delicious things?
Yeah. I just, I never understand people who like don't eat for enjoyment. That's why I think that the private chefing was soul sucking because it was just like, you can't enjoy this. I don't
No.
believe you if you're enjoying this.
Well, it's funny because I said this to somebody that, there's professional athletes have nutritionists, right? Nutritionists don't care about flavor. No, they count grams, they count protein, they count sodium, they count everything. And they forget how to make things taste delicious because they were never trained to make things taste delicious, right? It's all for them about nutritional balance and that's it. And if you're an athlete or if you're someone who has health issues and you need to eat a certain way, wouldn't you want it to taste delicious so you're willing to eat it? Like, there's
Yeah.
ways to make nutritional food delicious. It doesn't have to be, even if there's dietary restrictions and all these certain things, whether it be salt issues or gluten, there's a million different ways to make something delicious. Just you really have to take 5 minutes to think about it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think about that all the time. And I think I make the best food when I have some kind of parameter. Like, like to give me, I had one person who has like a crazy list of like allergies or
Mm,
things she avoids. And so then she hired me to do some cooking classes to teach her how to make some things. And it's like, she's like, I miss having Caesar salads, but I can't have like canned fish, like any like preserved fish. So then I like essentially made a tonato, like, I'm like, I cooked fish. I cooked some, I forgot, like an oily fish that was fresh. And then we like blended it and basically made a mayonnaise so she could have like oil, like olive oil or something. And like, you could still make it, like, there's still ways. You just have to
yeah.
think about it, Like, she was like, oh my God. And she was so grateful. And it's like, that's when I feel really sad when you can't eat it. Like, you could
Yeah.
choose not to eat it, but then when you can't and you know what good food is, it's like, that is torture. That's my hell. My gra my grandma's very dramatic. She's like, "If I can't eat this or, like, if I'm at an age where I can't enjoy this, just kill me."
Oh my, dramatic.
She's
Now
so
I
dramatic.
know. Guess where now I know where you got that from, Nini.
I know, I get it. I was like, I look at her sometimes and I'm like, "Oh, that's where I get it from." Like, her sassiness, her yeah, I was like, "I understand, and I'm sorry for to everyone who has to deal with me."
So, Nini, social media versus real life. I mean, you've talked about it already, how much social media has helped you with your classes and things, and how, like, what is your thought on it? Because there is definitely two different worlds, right? There's the social media versus real life. And I
Yeah.
think it's really important to kind of differentiate.
Yeah. Social media as a job, like lately for a long time I was really about like making content when I have stuff to like sell, like cooking classes. I'm taking pictures of food and I'm way more active. I've been pretty burnt out with the social media producing. It's just like it's so much work. People think that it's like an easy job. It's not.
No, it's
It's
so
so much.
hard.
Yes, and then, like, nothing's worse than, like, putting something out there you think is cool, and then no one looks at it. So, like, there's, like, it's just an emotional roller coaster that I've, like, kind of laid off on. I kinda just have, like, unhinged content in my stories of, like, my life. I'm just like, "Hey, guys, like, what are y'all doing?" Like, I don't know. But for the most part, I mean, I think everyone should know that, like, social media is so curated, and it's strategic, and it doesn't always have to be, like, harmful, like, I don't think that it's negative. I think I learned a lot of cool stuff or, like, see a lot of cool things with social media, but, like, you have to see it in a I think you have to see it in a lens of, like, skepticism, like, I just think that, like, you can't believe everything. I don't know. It's scary.
It's changed so much, though, from when it originally started, where
Yeah,
it was truly in the moment. It was a really simple, like, hey, this is a cool dish I'm doing. Hey, hey, check it out. And now it's become, like you said, very curated, very timed. Everybody has schedules. I
yeah.
mean, and it's fucking hard to like get your shit edited and organized and done. I mean, yeah, it's a
It's
lot.
ruined. This is why everyone not everyone, some of my friends are like, they do the Be Real. Have you heard of that one?
No.
Where, like, there's, like Be Real will just, like, notify you, and then you have to show people what you're doing, and it's both cameras, so you can't, like, just curate one side, and then everyone gets to see what you're doing. You only have, like, a small window to do it, and it's, like, instant, and it's called Be Real.
I've never heard of it, but now I want to check that out. That sounds interesting.
And so, like, I have friends who are, like, in different groups, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta do our Be Real," and everyone's like, "Say hi," or, and
Wow.
then it could be, like, a mess on the other side, and you're like, "Hey." But
That happens.
yeah, I think that could be fun. I think social media could be really I think it's cool. There are a lot of people who make really delicious looking things on social media. I'm like, "Oh, that's a good idea." But yeah, I don't know. It's like it's like evil. It's like kind of evil, but kind of nice. It's like the evil machine you have to feed, but then
Yes.
sometimes it'll do something nice for you, and so then you're like, "Oh, it's worth it." It's a toxic relationship. That's I'm describing. Yeah, yeah. It's like, "Oh, it noticed me. Let me keep doing that."
Yeah, that
Yeah,
happens. That
yeah.
happens. What has been your worst professional mistake?
My god, there's so many. What's the worst one? Let's see. What haunts me at night?
Wow, that's
I don't know. It's mostly, like when I say that, it's like when I get too stoned, like, I'll, like, think about things that I said or, like, "Oh, I didn't give that table ketchup," like, from years ago. So, I don't know. I try not to regret. Like, I'm like, "Whatever. If it happens, you just eat it, like, you move on." Maybe there was, like, a really now I'm, like, remembering. I was, like, fucking around at E&P, and I used to have to do the kitchen tours where I would make, like, a liquid nitrogen cocktail for whoever came into the kitchen, and it was, like, a super VIP. I think it was, like his name was Sasha, and he actually passed away, but he was, like, big name bartender, um, and he came with 2 other, like, very, like, cocktail people, and I forgot to refill the liquid nitrogen, so then I go and look, and it was, like, empty, and I remember my pastry chef being, like, pissed, but he ended up liking the cocktail anyways, but that was really embarrassing. I'm like, "Aha, I'm making a cocktail. Oops. I don't have any liquid nitrogen. Be right back."
I'll be right back.
But yeah. I'm sure there's worse. There's, like, so many like, you watch anything that I burn on TV, those are probably my biggest mistakes, but that one just came to me. There's so many. You fuck up all the time. It's just food. Like, I fuck up all the time, and I'm like, "Oops," but you just fix it, or you just eat it, like, and then you're over it. It's fine.
What has been I mean, you kind of answered my next question already about regrets and if you would change them. What what has been your most memorable meal?
That I've eaten
Yeah.
my most memorable meal, I would say I don't know. I've had a lot. I'm, like, very grateful. I've had a lot of really good meals in my life. I'll say the one that I don't know if I'll ever find this restaurant again. It's a place in Japan. They specialize in, um, pufferfish, blowfish. Um, but I was there in April, and, like, some of the people I was with wanted the puffer fish because, like, that's what they're known for, but I was like they had a Connie menu, so they had king crab, and me and my ex's mom, we always wanna eat the same thing, and we're like they needed more than one person to order the Connie in order to have the Connie. She's like, "I really want the Connie," and I'm like, "Me too." So we order the Connie. They kill a live king crab, like, at our dinner table. So, like, there's a large dinner table with all of us, and then at the end, he takes the crab, and then he's cutting the legs off of it, and then he cracks it open, he gives it to us, and it's, like, still moving, and then, like, throughout the, like, course of the dinner, like, there was different parts of the kani, and, like, at the end, like, 'cause, like, most of the Japanese meals, like, at the end, the last dish is always a big rice dish. and it's Connie rice. It's like rice in the like rice pot that they cook it in, and it's covered in crab meat, and then they give you a huge bowl of salmon roe. And they're like, "Just eat as much as you want." And by this time, you're already fucking full. And then they're like, "And no to go. Like, you can't take this to go. It's illegal." And I'm like, I ate so much, and then I was like, "I can't eat anymore." And it was like torture. It was torture because it was the most delicious food I've ever had, like the most freshest Connie, the like salmon roe. And then I can't take it home, and I'm like, "Do I just sit here for like an hour or two until I'm hungry again?" It was like already late. I was like, "How am I gonna put this into my body?" And I will never. I tried to look at my photos for the location because I don't speak Japanese, and someone had like taken us there. I will never find this restaurant again. Like, I don't know if I'll ever find it, but I think about it. I remember posting it, and people were really upset about, like, the killing of the crab. I warned
God,
them the story before and be like, "Hey, if you don't like seeing a crab getting killed, like, don't swipe left."
gosh. That sounds amazing. And that's the cool thing about Japan. Those restaurants are hidden almost.
Yeah.
Was it on a first floor or second floor?
First floor.
Yeah. Then, okay. So that's a high rent restaurant because then as you go up levels, if you go up in the buildings, the rent gets lower. First floor is the most expensive. So because it's easier to access. And as you go up, the price
That
changes for the
makes
rent. It
sense.
goes lower. Yeah. I would, man, that sounds amazing.
It
Japan is
was
amazing.
I love Japan. And yeah, that was to me, I think about that meal, I talk about that meal, I thought it was fucked up that I couldn't take it home. And that I have like no way of finding. I've tried. I've tried to find this restaurant so that I could tell
I'm
people no.
sure there's somebody who can help find it for you.
Yeah. I would do
There's
that
got
on
to be.
I'm gonna put it on social media today. I would be like, "Hey, internet friends, can y'all find this place?"
That's the way to do it. That's perfect example of why social media can be helpful.
That's when the social media evil machine will give sometimes.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think is a must do for a young cook?
Leave. I think if depending on I mean, I guess you don't have to leave if you're in a like big major city, but for young cooks, I just think that they should just always stay curious, always learn, always know that there might be many different ways to make a dish or like to do a task. Don't be judgmental. Come open and travel. Like, go eat in different places. Like, you might only know one thing and, like, you be like, "This is the only way to make this," and, like, "This is the right" No, because there are gonna be places where they'll do things you're like, "What the hell? That does not sound good," and it will blow your mind. And so, just be open to different things, different cuisines, different cultures, and I don't know, always think that you're not good, so then you could get better. That's really mean. But, like, I
No,
always
I think that's great. I think that's great advice because when you think you're top dog is when you're going to fail.
yeah, when you're not like, the people who think that they make the best food, their food's always mid. Like, I'm just like, "No." It's always the struggling people who are like, "It's not good enough." That's always gonna be make the best food because 'cause they're constantly trying to perfect it. Nobody ever, like, stops and be like, "That's perfect. I'm never gonna change that again." Who does that? It's like, there are people who probably do that, but it's like, they're not good. They'll be good for, like, for a little while.
Yeah, they just don't evolve. You got to keep
Yeah,
evolving.
yeah. So, if you think it's good, it's not good enough, basically.
Well, I mean, that's also the very traditional Japanese way of always searching for perfection, right? There's something to be said for wabi sabi, perfectly imperfect, but that's why there's generations of families cooking one dish over and over and looking to perfect it.
Do you think that the industry is, like, just enabling our mental illness?
In what way?
In many ways. Like, perfectionism, yeah. Um, like, people are like, "That's not good," and it's like, "But is it? Is it not good? Because we" Yeah.
I think there's different thought processes, right? Because everybody has a different vision of what tastes perfect, right? Or what is delicious, or what is rare, what is medium rare, because everybody has a different vision of those things.
Yeah.
One guest may think this is a perfect medium rare, and you get the next guest that's too rare. It's perspective, right, is really important. And also understanding that everybody has a different opinion, and we're also not going to make everybody happy.
Yeah.
I think that's a really important part about what you're saying, is because we take it very personally, our industry. We take feeding guests very personally. If somebody's unhappy, it bothers us, right?
Yeah.
Reviews, those hurt because we put a lot of time, energy, and love into what we're doing. So yes, those things do take its toll on our industry and the mental health of our industry, because we do work all the time. We do work long hours. We do choose to work holidays so everybody else can go out and have a good time. We feed people. We make people happy. We give taste memories for a living. But
Yeah.
not everybody's taste memories are the same as yours. And people will gravitate towards the chef that has a similar taste profile that they enjoy. So there's nothing wrong with anybody who's not cooking that taste profile for everybody. They'll
Yeah.
find their own. And I think that's really important, right? To
I think so,
finding
yeah.
who you are, how you cook, and not everybody's going to love what you do. I mean, there's a reason why certain restaurants have multiple page menus, because they're
Yeah.
there to cater for everybody. And I
Yeah.
think knowing that and being comfortable with who you are, it's very hard being comfortable in your own skin when you're in an industry where you need to make a living. The
Yeah.
restaurant needs to succeed. You need to get people to come in, and it's a hard answer to
Yeah.
give.
It's like it's very vulnerable. Like, you have to be
Yeah.
really vulnerable to be able to make something and then know that it's gonna be it's gonna be judged. Whether people yeah, like, whether it's nice or not, like, people are gonna, like, eat it and be like, "Is it good or not?" So, it's scary. Maybe I won't open a restaurant. Just kidding.
No, and I think that's actually a really good point. And I think people talk about the restaurant business, or they talk about cooking, and I like when a cook makes a mistake in the restaurant, right? And something goes wrong, every dish, I like to say, is the curtain opens, the play happens, and then the curtain closes, and then the next dish comes out and that curtain opens and there's another
Uh-huh.
play, right? And the point I'm getting at is that, like, we're judged by each dish, right? And that's a very hard thing, and it's criticized. And
Yeah.
then you look at somebody like actors who are putting themselves out there. We put ourselves out there, but we put ourselves out in a plate. We're giving people an opportunity to dine, to have memories. They're celebrating with us, which is a really important moment for a lot of people. And it's the same thing with actors and actresses who are putting themselves out there to represent, whether it be a historical figure, whether it's something new that
Yeah.
has a new creation, and they're judged on their performance. It's the same thing. It's
Yeah.
hurtful either way when
Yeah.
and our goal is to never let you leave unhappy. We never want to make anybody be upset. And it's the same thing for an actor and an actress. They don't want you to come and have a bad experience at a movie, or
Yeah.
at a theater performance, or on a television show. And then, you see these things where they talk about drug use, they talk about alcohol abuse, and it's pretty rampant in both industries,
Yeah.
because the constant criticism of the individual, it creates stress and anxiety.
Yeah. So much.
And I think people have to recognize that words hurt. People especially creatives, take it very personally. I
Yeah.
mean, I don't know. I'm sure I'm going to get crucified for my thought process on this, but that's okay. I think it's a very true fact that people don't people have a tendency to criticize when they aren't willing to put themselves out there. But if you're willing to put yourself out there, you're not, you'll have private conversations, or like, Nini, you would tell me if something sucked when you came to the restaurant, and you'd be like, "Hey, Chris, this was off. Just so you know, the balance wasn't there, or there wasn't this." Instead
Exactly.
of, there's a difference and an approach of how you deal with it. And I think the world has become very, what's the word I'm looking for? Hidden. So they can hide behind anonymity,
Yeah.
right? And also, we can't fight back when people can buy ink by the barrel,
Yeah. I like that say.
right? We don't have the time and we don't have the gallons and barrels of ink to fight
Yeah.
back. And I think it becomes hurtful. And it's, you know, just like our parents used to say, if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all,
Yeah.
right? So why, right? It's
People
like,
are miserable.
I can understand if it's completely awful. Like there's balances in life, right? If it's completely
Yeah.
awful, it's awful. But, it's
Most
hard.
of the time, I feel like it's just like they're already in a bad mood and they decide it. Like most of those bad reviews are like, the host didn't notice us for 5 minutes. So they're already in a bad mood by the time they get to the table. And then they're like, well, the
Was it
hell is
really
here?
5 minutes?
Yeah. It's
I
like,
doubt it was really 5
yeah,
minutes.
exactly. And so I'm like, you got to take it all with a grain of salt. But yeah, it's a very vulnerable industry or like job for sure.
Is what won't you eat? I know there's something you won't eat.
It's a lot.
What is the one thing that you just hell no?
You're gonna laugh. Goat dairy. I
No,
hate
why that's fine.
I
Why
don't
is
know,
it
I hate goat dairy. I, like, went to a dinner recently, and they're like, "Oh, do you have any allergies or aversions?" Or, like, "Do you have any aversions? Like, do you not like anything?" I'm like, "I don't like goat cheese." And then they served me goat yogurt, and I didn't know, and I just, like, took a bite of it thinking it's probably, like, ricotta. Fucking disgust I was so mad.
what is it about it that you don't like? Is it too barnyardy for you or
Yes, I feel like, I like to describe goat now I just say goat dairy, so then it
it covers
umbrellas
all of it? Yeah.
yeah, but I think it's, like, what I imagine if you were to go and find a goat on a farm and you just licked its fur, that's what I think goat dairy is.
Not the little cute ones. You're talking the ones that are dirty and manky and
Any of them.
If you could sit and have dinner with anyone, alive or gone, who would that be?
It would be my grandma. I would love nothing more than to take my grandma to, like, all these, like, fancy restaurants and hear her talk shit about it in Vietnamese.
My God, that's funny as hell.
She'll be like, "What the fuck is this?" Or she'll be like, when she'll give a compliment, which is rare, I'm like, "Okay, alright, let me know, like, what was good about this." But I think her, like, she is not very mobile now, but if I could, I would love to take her everywhere and, like, eat just to see her opinion because she's so funny.
That's awesome. What has been your biggest culinary flop? The dish that just
Let's see.
should have not happened, but it did.
Anything I've cooked on TOC.
I love that answer. That is the best one yet. Oh my
Anything
God.
I've cooked on there. I'm like, "What the fuck was that?" Sometimes I think that I just black out and I'm just like, "Gotta put something on the plate." And then I look back and I'm like, "What the fuck was I thinking?" So yeah, everything I've cooked on there. Maybe like without the qualifiers, because the qualifiers made sense. That was when it first got on there, and then I just lost my mind eventually after season after season. So yeah.
That's so funny. Do you have a favorite cookbook?
Um, trying to think. Right now, I don't know. I don't know. I always go for the vegetable one, Joshua.
Joshua McFadden?
I always go for that. Like when I'm looking, I'm like, let's look. But at the moment, I should say something.
You just did.
I know. I'm gonna say Gregory Gourdes because I'm working on it. Just kidding.
You can't say that because it's not out yet.
I'm trying to see if there's one that I looked at recently because I get sent some, but I never look through them because I'll just look at it. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to look through that, and then walk away and not do it. But yeah, I think things that go through. I never really cook from them. I kind of go. I'm like terrible about cookbooks. I'll go through it and look for like inspiration.
Yeah, that's great. That's what they're
And then
for.
I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." And then maybe, you know, maybe make something similar or not. But I think it just depends on my mood. People that I always follow, I'm like, I love Marcella Hassan. I make anything from her. Those books, yes. Like when I want Italian food, that's the one I go to. And yeah, and people think that I can make Italian food, but that's the I think she's the only one where I actually used the recipe.
And they're
Um,
solid. Those are solid
yes,
recipes.
yes, like that's the only person that I will use their recipes that I can think of. Yeah, so I'm gonna pick her.
Must have tool.
I think I'm gonna go with cake tester.
I love that.
I love my cake testers, not only for cakes, but like you can see if vegetables are done. That's like at work, like when I used to work in kitchens, like we always had our Sharpie and we always had a cake tester with us. Great to especially for proteins. I should probably practice what I preach on TV because then sometimes I'm like, they don't use the thermometer and the thermometer's not calibrated. And I'm like, well, raw meat for you
Yeah.
on TV, not in real life. I will make sure it's cooked. But yeah, cake tester.
What makes you happy as a chef?
Watching people eat. I know. People are gonna be like, that is interesting. But I love feeding people or like when you bring like food to a table. I think that's why I was like, I loved serving tables is because like people usually smile at you and they're like happy when you bring them food. And so I think that's what I loved. I have always loved that as a kid. Like when guests would come over, I'm always offering them something. And I think that's when I realized like hospitality is in my blood. I've always loved it. And now, yeah, like bringing the food to people. That's my favorite.
All right. Are you ready? Coffee or tea?
I don't know. Coffee. Coffee lately.
Drip or espresso?
Espresso.
Milk, no milk.
No milk.
Pancakes or waffles?
Pancakes.
Oatmeal or yogurt?
Neither.
Bacon or sausage?
Sausage.
Chicken or duck?
Chicken. I
Beef
love
or pork?
pork.
Quail or squab?
Quail. Quail, because I'm Vietnamese. We eat a lot of quail.
Hot dog or hamburger?
I'm trash. I'm trash. You saw me put butter on my pancake. Like,
I did.
hot
And by
dog.
the way, for everyone here who needs to hear this, Nini and I were at an event together that had breakfast, and Nini, I kid you not, there was more butter than pancake. Just going to put that out there.
It was whipped, okay? In my defense, the butter was whipped, so, the density was less. And
My God, Nini,
I want butter in every bite.
you are so funny.
I was like, I thought it was a lot, but I was like, you know what? I committed to it.
You committed for sure. Ketchup or mustard?
Mustard.
Whole grain or Dijon?
Dijon.
French fries, onion rings?
And this is the best version of both.
Whatever you want.
I'm going to go French fry.
Taco burrito? Pasta, noodles?
Noodles.
Ravioli?
No. I was like,
Go ahead.
no, I love pasta.
Okay. Ravioli dumplings?
Dumplings.
Raw oysters, raw clams?
Raw oysters.
Lobster or crab? What type of crab?
King crab if I can.
Sea urchin, caviar?
Ooh, caviar.
Black truffles, white truffles?
White truffle.
Meatballs, sausage?
Meatballs.
Favorite herb?
Roundup.
Favorite pizza style?
I like New York style.
Are you a dessert or a cheese girl?
Dessert.
Ice cream, soft serve, gelato, sorbet?
Soft serve.
Cup
I'm
or
also
cone?
trash. Cake cone, if possible.
Cake cone. Is that the
Yeah.
styrofoam kind?
The styrofoam.
Just call it what it is. It's fucking styrofoam.
That is my choice.
Do you prefer fruit or do you prefer chocolate?
But never fruit and chocolate together. I hate.
Honey or maple syrup?
Ooh, I don't know. I think maple syrup.
Red wine, white wine?
White.
Light beer, dark beer?
No beer.
White spirits, dark spirits?
Dark spirits. Because I'm Vietnamese and I love cognac.
Favorite sparkling?
Sparkling.
Like champagne, Lambrusco, Cava, Prosecco?
Oh, I think it's Lambrusco. I love a Lambrusco. Especially with pizza.
By the way, nobody chose Lambrusco forever, and now I've had 3 Lambruscos in a row. It's pretty
Really?
amazing. I miss Lambrusco a lot. I miss Lambrusco.
Yeah, I'm like, it's perfect. I always want that. I go to one restaurant here at an Italian spot, and I'm like, I always order it.
What's your favorite candy?
Candy. I don't know. I guess like maybe peanut butter cups. because I have them in my fridge always.
What's your guilty pleasure?
I don't have guilt with my pleasure, but if I were, I don't know, eating like everything sugar. Like just like pounding like a dessert drink with a dessert with something else that's sweet and then being like, you know what? I need something else that's sweet. Yeah, that would be me.
Gosh. What would be your last meal?
It would be this very unique dish my grandma makes. But growing up, we always had mullet roe, like mullet sacks, like
Mm-hmm.
fresh. And so my grandma would always braise it with fish sauce and pork bellies, thinly sliced. And I would have a bowl of that, the mullet roe, with rice and pickled mustard greens.
I've never had it raised. I've had shad roe and I've always had batarga, right?
Yeah.
Demugine, which is the mullet roe. But I've never had the roe sacks fresh or cooked in that way.
You
That
have to
sounds
poach them
amazing.
quickly in salt water so they stay, like they hold their shape. And then you could put it in, and it's like dry. It's dry. But like I've always eaten that. Like my grandma knows that's like my favorite meal. And then I remember seeing like Anthony Bourdain in Sardinia and he's having Batarga. I'm like, I've never had that before, but I know I'm gonna I love that. Like I knew I was going. Yeah.
That's amazing. I've never had it and yeah, I can see why it can be dry because the eggs become very dry and crumbly and they kind of like flake out, right?
Yeah.
Wow, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. But over like a fresh bowl of like very fragrant jasmine rice. Like I always thought that if I were to ever have a tasting menu, like I would recreate that dish in a way that would make sense with like the best rice that money can buy and like mullet.
There's your signature dish at the new
Yeah.
restaurant, Nini.
Yeah. And you
There it
have to have
is.
the crunchy mustard greens. Like it's like the combo. Yeah.
That sounds amazing. So, Nini, if people want to find you on your social medias, your Instagram, it's what?
Chef Nini Nguyen, and it's the same for all the platforms.
She does do TikTok dances. No, I'm only kidding. I
No,
had no idea.
no. No, I don't. That's like where if you ever see me do like a Instagram or TikTok dance, I need you to fly to New Orleans, come to my house, and smack me. Promise me that you will do that because I clearly need a lobotomy at that point.
So funny. Nini, thank you so much for taking time to be on the podcast. This has been so much fun.
It's always fun to hang out with you, and anytime.
For sure. Folks, make sure to check out what Nini's doing on Instagram and go buy her book. Absolutely dynamite. The recipes are approachable for you at home. For those of you who don't know how to cook traditional Vietnamese cuisine, the book will open the door for you and make it really easy so you don't have to go out. You can do it at home. And the ingredients are readily available. That's for sure. Maybe a few herbs might not be easy to find, but you can find the rest of it.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for listening to How the Sausage is Made. If you've liked what you've heard today, please make sure to like and subscribe. And don't be afraid to tell your friends about it.